What's up, vinyl community? It's Steve from Steve Spins Records, and today we're going to look at Iron Maiden's 17th studio album, Senjutsu. Senjutsu came out on September 3rd, 2021, 6 years after Book of Souls, and is largely a continuation of that style of Iron Maiden. When you think about a band like Iron Maiden, their career is so long and expansive that they go through many different styles along the way. Their early stuff does not sound like this, so if you like early Iron Maiden, this might not be for you. However, if you're interested in digging the later stuff that they've done on Book of Souls, you may want to give this a listen and check it out. I got this copy on black vinyl from the In Groove in Phoenix, Arizona, thanks Mike and Angel, for $49.99, and it comes in at 1 hour and 21 minutes, which is roughly 62 cents per minute on vinyl, which, not bad when you think about it. If you are still looking for a copy on vinyl, I know they sold out in a lot of different places. The In Groove does still have them. I will leave a link in the description below. So I gave the album a listen. I checked it out. I really liked it. I thought it was, again, very much like Book of Souls, which I also enjoyed. And I've not listened to as much as the old Iron Maiden stuff that's out there, right? So you've got The Trooper and Run to the Hills and like the things that we all know. But I also listen to Power Slave and things like that, but I've not gone through the entire Iron Maiden catalog to deeply understand the nuances and the subtleties of the music that's happening here. Senjutsu is a lot to digest. Again, it comes in at almost an hour and a half of music, which again, I think is rare these days, right? And it's not something you see from a lot of bands that are out there making music. A lot of music is shortening, truncating, 2.5 minutes. It's kind of the SoundCloud effect, if you will, of people want the hook and the chorus and then get out and you're done. So they have several songs on this album which are over 10 minutes, which we'll get to in a sec. The other thing that I thought was interesting and a bit of a gamble, right, is I listened to the album. It sounded okay. I was like, I kind of want to have this in the collection. $50 is a steep price tag. You do get 3 LPs for that cost, but I was still a little bit on the fence on whether or not I wanted to pull the trigger. Then when I started seeing it selling out in places, I was like, well, I should probably go ahead and invest in it. And I think the interesting thing about this album that I'm hearing a lot of people say is it gets better the more you listen to it. The first listen through, you might be like, oh, I don't know. I don't really know if I'm into this. But on the third listen through, and on the fifth listen through, if you can make it that far, again, these are long songs, so we're talking a big time investment there. But if you like Iron Maiden, if you like the style of music, if you like epic heavy metal ballads, this should be right up your alley, and you should check it out. So without further ado, we'll get into the track listing and tell you a little bit about the packaging. I'll go through the track listing first. So you've got Senjutsu, which comes in at 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Stratego, which is 4 minutes and 59 seconds. The Writing on the Wall, which is 6 minutes and 13 seconds. Lost in a Lost World, which is 9 minutes and 31 seconds. Days of Future Past, which is 4 minutes and 3 seconds, the shortest track on the album here. The Time Machine at 7 minutes and 9 seconds. Darkest Hour at 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Death of the Celts at 10 minutes and 20 seconds. The Parchment at 12 minutes and 39 seconds. And Hell on Earth at 11 minutes and 19 seconds. Mark Wilkinson did the artwork, which looks fantastic. So you've got Eddie as a essentially Japanese samurai, kind of keeping with the theme of the album. Senjutsu loosely translates to tactics and strategy in Japanese, so that was the motif that they wanted to go with, as much as Book of Souls was maybe more of a Mayan type feel. This is very much an ancient Japanese type warrior feel. It was recorded in France, and I'm going to butcher this studio name, so please bear with me, don't kill me in the comments, at the Guillaume Tell Studio, which is an old cinema with a high ceiling, and it was recorded in 2019 when they were on the Legacy Tour, which kind of blows my mind that they were able to record a full-length, this is a long, full-length double album in a studio while on tour, and I think it speaks to the prolific nature of Iron Maiden and how they approach music. They understand the live component, they understand the studio component, and they understand how to interplay them along the way. Bruce Dickinson said there were delays along the way due to COVID, right, and everything that's happened with that, but I'm glad that this came out in 2021. I'm glad that it kind of helps to get some more music out there and help use music as a way to get through the tail end of the pandemic that we're going through. Another thing, when you look at the reviews, it's highly reviewed by a lot of different places. Metacritic gives it an 83 out of 100, which, you know, is kind of the rough cut of all reviews that are out there. Pitchfork gave it a 7.4 out of 10, which in my opinion is high for Pitchfork, right? Sometimes they don't really like music, and they have a little bit more of a critical ear than the mainstream does. And then Rolling Stone gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. So that's, I think, you know, a safe bellwether of kind of how most people would think about the album and rate it. There is an interesting Louder article that's out there, which features other metal artists who have listened to the album and their thoughts on it. So it interviewed Herman Lee from Dragon Force, and he says there's long, epic songs, melodies, singing, guitar solos, which is really what, you know, heavy metal's all about. There's Oscar Dronjik, which sorry if I mispronounce any of these names, from Hammerfall, who says it's very much a continuation of Book of Souls. Then you got Erland Jelvik, who, you know, Stratego has an 80s anime vibe, which you can sort of hear coming through, and then Writing on the Wall very much has a southern rock feel to it, which again is really interesting. And when you think about Iron Maiden again, the way I'm looking at it is their career has been so expansive and the music has been so expansive that they need to try new things to keep it spicy, right? To keep the fans engaged and to try to experiment, right? Because if you're out there doing the same thing, if they just keep doing Run to the Hills over and over and over and over again, you say, oh, okay, that's kind of the same thing they've always been doing. And I think this is often the paradox of being a music fan, is that you want the old stuff and the new stuff feels foreign, but how do you make it advanced enough for your fans to enjoy without being too far out that they turn off and disassociate? So it's an artist paradox. I respect all of the musicians out there who are making music and who have made music for a long time in their career, because it's not easy, and that is a very difficult thing to do. All right, let's look at the packaging. Let's see what we got. So it comes in a really sturdy cardboard trifold, which I think is great. You've got Eddie on the front there in full-on samurai armor. On the back, you see Eddie without the helmet. Again, just very, very nice artwork. Nice, right? So that's relative, but very detailed, very scary and terrifying almost look to Eddie throughout this. It's got a bit of a gloss to it, which I'm up in the air about. Like, I can see my fingerprints on here, which is okay. Typically, it lives in a plastic sleeve, so I don't really touch the outside of it too much, but just kind of an interesting design choice. Then on the inside, you've got the track listing there with the snake going through it, and then you have this really epic inner scene of Eddie storming a Japanese fortress, or running out of Japanese fortress. There's bodies all over. It's cloudy and crazy mountains and stuff in the background. So a really nice inner detail here that is very much the art of Iron Maiden. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do this video was to show off some of the cool stuff that's inside the packaging that you might not see just looking online at the album itself. So that's the actual jacket that we have there. It also comes with the inner sleeves, which I'll briefly show. You've got Archer Eddie and looking over the shoulder Eddie, and just general standing there menacing Eddie. And then on the backside is where they have all of the lyrics for each of the different LPs that are there. There's also some cool art that's on the back of these as well. There's some trees on this one for disc 1. This one has, disc 2 has the inner style kind of Japanese art where they're fighting in the water there on some horses, or down here you just got the samurai on horseback. And then the third one just has the lyrics for The Parchment and Hell on Earth, and then all of the various credits here as well, and some sneaky like bloody handprints on this as well, which is kind of interesting for an inner sleeve. But again, very nice attention to detail, also glossy, also kind of fingerprint magnets, but really nice inner pieces to have. And then I'll show just I'll show all the records. Let's do it. This is disc 3. So they all have this samurai head on them. And then on the other side, you've got the track listing, which is one of these this side, other side type things. And then disc 3 is this, I'm going to call it a red samurai on blue and green, which looks really, really cool. then each one has a different Samurai Eddie face on it. This is disc 2, which has a white Samurai Eddie on a green background there. And again, these look really cool when they are on your record player and they are spinning, or even right before they get to spinning. They just look great on the record player. And this is a white Samurai Eddie on red, which is also nice. So very, very cool attention to detail throughout the entire package itself. It's Iron Maiden, right? So that's part of it. If you made it this far into the video, thank you for watching. On this channel, we look at the records in my collection. We talk about the history behind the album, what you get in the package, and who the music might be for, who might want to listen to that. So in that vein, this would be great for anyone who is either a lifelong Iron Maiden fan. It's up in the air as to whether or not this album will get you into Iron Maiden. This album sounds very different than old Iron Maiden, so keep that in mind. If you were to get into Iron Maiden, I might suggest you look at the old material first and try to work your way through the catalog up to here. However, if you heard Book of Souls and you like Book of Souls and that was your introduction to Iron Maiden, this will be right in line, and this is very much right up your alley for that listener. So if you made it this far, thank you for watching the video. Please give me a thumbs up. Tell me down in the comments what your favorite track on the album is. Tell me if you agree with the sentiment that it gets better as you listen to it, which I fully agree with on this album. And think about subscribing to the channel where we go through and we talk about records and we talk about albums and we do fun stuff like that. So without further ado, thank you for watching. I'm Steve from Steve Spins Records, signing off.